Welcome in to the Illini Inquirer podcast. It is Jeremy Werner, Joey Wagner. We are in Durham, North Carolina, where we're going to learn a lot about Illinois football. And for Illinois football fans, it was a good learning because Illinois took care of business 45-19. It was a close one at halftime. Felt like you were very fortunate to be up 14-13, though you missed some opportunities as well. But it felt like Duke was kind of controlling that game at the line of scrimmage. But boy, what a second half, Joey. 31-6 advantage for Illinois. Just ran away from this one. 5 takeaways for the Illini defense and special teams. I should throw that in there. But Luke Altmaier, strong performance, 296 yards, 3 touchdowns. We get a lot of the running backs involved, but Hank Beatty turning into a star in his senior year, sets another career high in receiving yards, 128 yards, but also ran for a touchdown out of the Wildcat. We will break down the hits and misses of this one, but the biggest takeaway, Joey, Illinois looked the part. You know, maybe not for a whole 60 minutes, but they looked the part of a number 11 team going on the road against a dangerous Duke offense. And I'm still pretty impressed by Darian Mensah after this one. He did have 3 turnovers in this one, but that's a good win. And that's a win we were talking about coming up on the elevator that could age really well. 26-point win at a Duke team that has a path to a pretty good season.
Yeah, the only ACC kind of top dog that Duke has is Clemson. So you can imagine they're going to be able to – that offense is good. They should be able to roll up some wins and make that age pretty well. Yeah, I think they looked the part, but they also figured it out when they didn't. And I think on the road when they were up 1 in the first half, it felt like they trailed at halftime, to be honest with you. The way that half went and how poorly they played – at times, and to make those adjustments for it's kind of what you want a veteran quarterback to be steady when there's a lot of fire around him and getting a lot of pressure on him. They found a way to steady that ship a little bit and then put together a big second half. So, yeah, they went in, they looked the part. The final score looks pretty. But I just thought the way that they were able to overcome a really, truly a pretty slow start where they were fortunate to lead at half was pretty meaningful.
Yeah, it's just this keeps everything alive, right? It's the expectations you have for this season were kind of reinforced with a game like this. You come back home next week against Western Michigan team that is not as good as the Western Michigan teams of the past. And then you have another huge road game at Indiana with a chance to really solidify yourself. But we're not sitting here questioning whether Illinois is a good team, Joey. And that's a really good thing moving forward for this team. But let's start off with our hits and misses. I'll let you lead off. What's your biggest hit from this game?
It's Hank Beatty again, right? I mean, the answer was in front of us the whole time. When we spent the offseason trying to figure out who was going to be the new go-to guy, and every time we would ask the coaches, it'd say, Hank Beatty, Colin Dixon, Hank Beatty, Colin Dixon. And we still kept going, okay, but also who, right? Like, who's it going to be? The answer was Hank Beatty all along, and a guy who really into his senior year is blossoming into a star or go-to target for Luke Altmaier. Beyond the quarterback run, which was obviously new and something we hadn't seen, just his ability to make those catches in traffic. Luke Altmaier, the one I'm thinking of, it also came with a 15-yard roughing penalty. Opposite hash, just threw an absolute bullet to Beatty, who brought it in. But that's their go-to guy. At least through 2 games, I don't think that's going to change next week. And to see him, it's kind of a good reminder that development is okay, that taking time to be a focal point of an offense or of a defense is okay. Because after his sophomore year, we didn't see this, right? I mean, I think it would have been really hard to imagine this kind of output coming, but he's really blossomed to a heck of a receiver for Illinois.
Yeah, Joey, and yeah, it's pretty fun to watch something like this. But over the last 3 games for Hank Beatty, I'm doing the math in my head, 326 receiving yards for him.
It's good. I can't hear you. Oh, boy. I'll just keep talking. Yeah, really, I think you look back at turning into that punt returner midway through the year. He's talked about that, giving him confidence offensively. The bowl game, that 4th down catch that we didn't know that was in Hank Beatty's bag of tricks to go up and get that. I think he finished with 90-plus receiving yards, just short of 100 in that game. Last week he thought, all right, go-to guy, Western Illinois FCS team. But then to come in here today, he was really spectacular. And while you're figuring out the audio issue here, just a little background on that quarterback run. Brett Bielema said that he called him Monday. Hank Beatty obviously played quarterback his senior year of high school. Hank Beatty was not throwing it around like Rochester quarterbacks do or have done. So he obviously was comfortable in that situation. Brett Bielema put that in the game plan. He followed Caden Fagan. Really good blocking up front by the offensive line. Good blocking from Caden Fagan. Got a little feedback, Werner. Got quite a bit of feedback, Werner. And ultimately ended up in a touchdown. So I think there's the comfort in, you are killing me here trying to keep freelancing. Their comfort in drawing stuff up for him, making him a focal point, the trust in Luke Altmaier. Just it's been a really cool thing to see. To your point, yeah, the last 3 games he's put together look really stinking good for him, and he's built on that.
All right, we good now? Am I back?
Good.
All right, it's a different mic, but I'm playing with mics and shouldn't even do that. Just stick to the old reliable. So apologies for that. But yeah, over the last 3 games, Hank Beatty has emerged into a star. This dates back to the Citrus Bowl, right? He has 326 receiving yards over his last 3 games. He's turned into the go-to guy for Luke Altmaier since Pat Bryant has left. So maybe we didn't call this one. Maybe we should have known it, as you said, that Hank Beatty would be go-to guy. I thought he would get a lot of action in this offense, but he is earning more and more. And to find a way creatively to get him the ball, get the ball in his hands, Joey, and make some plays, because he had one catch, even just early in the game, where he caught the ball and just got upfield so quickly. He just accelerated so quickly. So, I was talking to Robert Rosenthal, and I was like, it's lazy, but there's Mike Dudek here. Like, is a Mike Dudek season possible for him? And I think we had mentioned that. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to say he's like a Mike Dudek kind of guy, but maybe that's in. Maybe that's possible for Hank Beatty this season with all the targets he's getting, and he catches the ball every damn time. He catches the ball every damn time and has that explosiveness. So somebody told me around the program, like, Hank Beatty's going to have a chance at the NFL, and now we're seeing why, right? Like, that this is what you needed at wide receiver, and maybe it's not Dudek. Maybe it's like, this is Isaiah Williams. Like, this is another kind of slot that can be that kind of engine of your offense, and you get the ball to him in creative ways and trust that he's going to go make the play. So just huge for him to emerge is this kind of target. And I thought Justin Bullock looked good again today. Going in the red zone, that catch by the end zone was really impressive. He has another touchdown on the slant, so he is the go-to guy in the red zone. I thought Hudson Clement had some good opportunities today. That huge 3rd and 21 conversion was big for him. So pretty encouraged by the wide receivers. Of course, Malik Elzy dropping that one and almost fumbling it was an issue. But he can go down and get it, Joey, off the turf. He saved a couple of those so far. So really encouraging day from the passing game. And Hank Beatty certainly is emerging as a fan favorite, and looks like he's got an all Big Ten season at wide receiver ahead of him right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're closer to figuring out the wide receivers and kind of how that ultimately is going to shake out. I still think Colin Dixon is in that top 2 with Hank Beatty. Had a nice catch today. And then it's probably situational. That makes sense. I mean, Boa, kind of that red zone guy between the 20s. You get Elzy out there. We didn't see a ton of Kapka Jones, Hudson Clement. Obviously, that screen that he took on a huge conversion. I mean, that was 3rd and 20 plus, and he ultimately converted that. So a little bit more clarity, but I kind of played out like we thought. It was going to take a couple games to really see what this looks like. Last point on Beatty, I really want to erase a wide receiver position primer pod, because we knew it in the moment, and we were off, like, straight up.
That's Joey, you gotta like realize, though, like, we're gonna have these, and that's a good thing.
I know,
like, we're gonna have these.
You gotta wear it. I would rather wear it. I'd rather come out and be like, hey, we screwed up on that. We did not predict that correctly.
I know, it bothers you so much. You're gonna miss out more of them, kid. It's gonna happen.
It's not quite the feeling I had riding up the elevator, where it's like, we were wrong on right guard that bad last week, but I don't like being wrong, man.
I know, but that's what the projection game is. All right, the other hit. I love that you have a quarterback that can outplay a $4 million man, right? Like, Darian Mensah was pretty damn good today, throwing the ball around, and we saw some Illinois coaches afterwards, and they're like, man, that's a tough passing attack. You need all the corners in the world to defend them, and they're really good. Like, that's a really great test for the secondary, and I don't know how overwhelmingly talented the secondary is. Tanner Heckel's emergence is really, really interesting, because there is some raw athletic ability that now is mixing with experience and some confidence that is really fun. But at the end of the day, your quarterback outplayed Mensa because he still was able to drive the ball down the field, get his team in the end zone, but he also took care of the ball. Like there were some moments in the second quarter, to be honest with you, I didn't love Luke Altmaier and his ability to handle that pass rush and the communication with him in the offensive line. That 3rd and 3 sack where he took it, the ball needs to come out. I know the pressure was right on him, but the ball needs to come out. That's partly his job. The offensive line was not good. We'll dive into that. But after that, the second half was fantastic for Altmaier. I thought the first quarter was really, really good for him. So you got a dude back there. And despite some wavering moments in that second quarter, Joey, you never thought the game was too much for him or that he was going to put you in jeopardy. Like he was going to give you a chance. And I just don't want to overlook, like Illinois' got a dude at quarterback that they can go win a game like this and win a game like this convincingly against another really, really good quarterback. So any game you're in this year, you have a chance because of that guy.
Yeah, that's why expectations were and remain high for Illinois football, is because you had that guy on a day that Luke Altmaier wasn't his best, at least for a couple quarters of this game. There was a couple, I think probably just missed a throw to Colin Dixon for a touchdown going into the end zone. I thought that was a good play drawn up. But again, what I touched on earlier, his ability when things were really, really rocky early on, and to have a guy who's been through some stuff, who's played through some stuff, who's had to kind of overcome a little bit of adversity to get here, to stay calm in that, not have the offense freaking out, not ramping it up and going in on the offensive line or, going crazy about it. He just really, his demeanor, I think, was really critical in Illinois. Obviously, the adjustments helped, and we'll get into those, but just keeping calm going into halftime with the 1-point lead and then coming out and had some Duke breaks, but you also got to have a guy talented enough to execute. And that's what Hank Beatty said is, when they make mistakes like that, good teams execute and capitalize on those mistakes. Illinois did, Luke did.
That's my next hit. Let's just dive right into that. Is you took advantage of a lot of Duke miscues. You took advantage of the other team making the miscues. And that's where it feels like I had a lot of calm and some confidence about this team now that is so different, Joey, than 2 years ago. You're always waiting for that other shoe to drop, right? A couple of years ago, when's Illinois going to make that mistake that changes a game? And the ones I really think are 2 years ago at Purdue. And this felt like the inverse of that game. You made every mistake in that game. Purdue took advantage, and they won 44-19, I believe the score was then. Duke made all these miscues, like 2 players on the field with number 8, right? Like having that. There's a couple of 3rd downs, 4th downs where they had penalties that prolonged Illinois drives, the muff punt after they had gotten Illinois on a 3-and-out for a second straight, or gotten Illinois to punt for a second straight time. Illinois took advantage of those. They put points on the board after a lot of those, but you weren't the team making those miscues, but you made that other team pay. So Brett Bielema always says, you got to learn how not to lose games. Duke found ways to lose this game today, and Illinois did not make those major errors. Sure, you give up a play and Duke makes a play or something like that, but you just didn't have a bunch of those outside of Daniel Brown's penalty. And I'm not even going to put Tommy Waduraja's early penalty that led to 3 points for Duke, because that happens in a game. But Daniel Brown's penalty can't happen. That changed the end of that first half. But there weren't many of those. Duke had a lot of them.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Purdue, I think back to even Virginia in like 21, that was over, but there was still a couple plays that even if the door was somewhat cracked, it was shut completely. There's some of those mistakes that Illinois made. So, yeah, veteran team that's comfortable, obviously, in big moments like that, but with their coaching staff, with Brett Bielema. Yeah, Duke, what a comedy of errors at times. Right? It's just unbelievable how many, that one scoring drive, we looked at each other and we said, Illinois has got to score. Before the muff punt, they still had the opportunity. Can you remember? There's 2 other, was there a penalty before that muff punt? And that just kept going.
Down, but I don't have
defensive pass interference, I believe. Offensive pass interference. Point being, they capitalized when they needed to capitalize.
Yeah. All right. What do you got, Joe?
Aaron Henry.
I gave the hot take. I gave the hot take that Aaron Henry gives me confidence going into this game, and he proved me right.
I get it. Seeing only 3 rush the passer sometimes, watching Mensa stand back there all day long can be very frustrating to watch. When you have a Gabe Akis on your team, when you have some guys who can rush the passer, I understand. But against quarterbacks who are as talented as you've seen Illinois go up against, Aaron Henry's drawn up some damn fine game plans. Oregon notwithstanding, right? That was over very quickly in Eugene last season, but he is comfortable making them take their time driving the field. Mensa had all day a few times, and those play ended up in 2 or 3 yard gains and little check downs to the running back. He did a good job disguising. He did a good job of maximizing the depth on this team. I thought his game plan was really, really solid. And when you make college quarterbacks put together long drives, windows for mistakes open up. And you saw that obviously today with 4 defensive turnovers in the muff punt to make the 5 total turnovers. I just think in these moments, Aaron Henry should give you confidence as a play caller. May not always look pretty, may not look like you'd hope it would look, but it is effective. And he laid the groundwork, right? On Monday, he said, I don't care. All I care about is points. I don't care about yards. The yards were lopsided in the first half, but they kept Duke out of the end zone for the most part. It's just a really impressive performance from him.
He's grown a lot as a defensive coordinator. I think he told me last year or during the offseason that, he wanted to be a dominating defense like in 2022 in his first year. And it's like, didn't have the guys to do that, right? And it's really hard to do that. So last year, I think he learned, like, my job is to keep us in the game. My job is to help our offense play complementary football. That doesn't mean I got to keep Jalen Daniels to 100 passer rating, right? That just means I got to keep Jalen Daniels and the points off the board. And that's what they did last year. And I thought against these elite quarterbacks outside of Dylan Gabriel and that ridiculous Oregon offense, we did against Lenore Sellers, Aiden Childs, just kept these guys as pocket passers and made them throw into coverage. And it's not as fun. Like, I love Ryan Walters' defense. I love what kind of Manny Diaz likes to do where you impose your will. But that also leaves a lot of opportunities for offenses that are good offenses to kind of pick you apart. So while Manny dominated that first half with his defense, like, Aaron Henry won the war because he just kept everything in front, got those takeaways, and Illinois didn't have those kind of moments. So he gave his team a really good chance to win, kept everything in front, gave up some yards. But a quarterback who's still kind of young, his second year as a starter, his first game against one of his first games against a ranked opponent as high as Illinois, right? Like, he had bad moments where he fumbled, where he had the interception. So that was kudos to Aaron. He's given his team a chance to win, not a dominating style, but it's a winning style. And it has been for the last, obviously, year plus here.
Yeah, and I also think his ability the coaching staff, we know Terrence Jamison, Archie McDaniel, Corey Parker, their influence, but his ability to change things on the fly and be a little bit different game to game and to get the buy-in from those guys. I'm sure this isn't the most fun game those pass rushers have ever played, right? But to get the buy-in and to just keep kind of churning along there, I'm just really impressed with being multiple from game to game. There's one thing being multiple within a game, but to do it week to week and really mold to what you're coming up against, he's grown a ton as a coordinator.
Yeah. So I can get it's frustrating. You're not getting as much pressure on the quarterback, but if you're keeping the quarterback from, a lot of these huge plays, that's important. Now, Mensa got it a couple times, and the tackling is a miss for me, Joey. I thought the tackling at the linebacker level once Rosiak was out of the game, sounds like a hamstring, Brett Bielema said. I wondered if he was getting checked for a concussion at some point after a big hit. But even the DBs, like we saw Xavier Scott take a bad angle, Torrey Cox took a bad angle, Caleb Patterson took a bad angle, Matthew Bailey made up for it with a forced fumble after it, but the tackling wasn't superb, so that would be a miss for me.
Yeah, I would agree. And early on, I thought the linebackers played well. I think losing Rosiak, and got to go back and see how much Malachi Hood played down the stretch. I thought those two played well to start, but yeah, tackling and some Duke skill players are hard to bring down, right?
Yeah,
but
they're good.
You got lucky that some of those Matthew Bailey punching that out saved what could have been a pretty big moment with especially Caleb Patterson out there.
A miss leading into a hit. A miss would be the first half offensive approach.
It felt like you were running with Donovan Clingan, didn't it? It felt like the Elite Eight game where it's like Donovan Clingan is still in the paint. What are you doing? It felt like that on the football field. Why are you still running this?
Why are we still doing long drop backs? Why are we still pounding the ball in the running game when this is not working? The barge was a failure today. that's a concern. Like I'm worried about another slow start by the offensive line, but it was just like it wasn't all on the offensive line at times because I don't think the offensive line was put in a great position to succeed because, well, you see it on TV and it's like, oh, they're right on the quarterback. Well, when there's 8 rushers, you got to have some counters to that. You got to have some quick hits. You got to get out of it really quickly. And I don't think the offensive line blocked really well at certain points. The running backs and tight ends played a role in that. But there were some moments where it's just like, all right, we can't keep running these long dropbacks or sitting in the pocket. Got to get rid of the ball quickly. And I thought they did that. They ran the ball better in the second half for sure. But I think it was all set up, Joey, with a little bit more creativity, moving the pocket, getting Luke on the run a little bit more, and just some quick dump offs that you got guys in space. And I just thought it was a great change, second half adjustment with Barry Lunny. But it followed the first half that was pretty frustrating. But what a bounce back. Score 31 points. Defense obviously helped them with the takeaways, but scored on every drive in the second half. That's a pretty damn good half for Barry Lunny Jr.
Yeah, I also think in the second half, especially later in that midway through the third quarter and on, I don't feel like they brought as much pressure. I don't feel like they were as sitting at the line, just kind of ready to get after Luke Altmaier because they were able to get some of those quick hitters outside because you had to honor that a little bit more. And then that opened up, obviously, some room for Caden Fagan, some room for Khalil Valentine. But, yeah, we came into this thinking they were going to run the ball better than they did. And we wrote off last week that I felt like they were trying to get the passing game going. And then ultimately late, they ran the ball well. They didn't run the ball well in the first half. And it wasn't just the sacks. They had -5 rushing yards. A lot of those, that's a lot of noise going on here. Huh?
Yeah, they're moving stuff underneath us. So
moving everything around here. Yeah. So they had -5 yards rushing in the first half. A lot of that was Altmaier sacks, but I just saw they would run the ball a lot better. Kudos to the adjustments that they made, but that was a little disappointing. Especially, you look at some of the pressure they got. J.C. Davis got beat. We haven't seen J.C. Davis get beat like that in a long while. I think number 7 for Duke had 3 sacks. That double check that here.
2.5 for Vincent Anthony Jr. He's a really good player. He's an NFL player.
Yeah. Now the 2 he got were one was against Davis, one came on the right side, but he got under Davis and just got right back there to Luke Altmaier. So yeah, the adjustments later, but that was not a pretty start. And again, like fortunate for Illinois that they were up 1 at halftime because it sure didn't feel like that.
Yeah, no. It's rare to see him get beat like that. And it was just incredible bend by Anthony. And, there are a lot of NFL scouts here today. So that's something J.C. Davis is going to have to clear up. But I do like that he followed it up with 2 of his most physical blocks on the Clement and then Valentine run. That was a good bounce back for them. And I thought it was a good bounce back in the second half of the offensive line. But I also thought they were set up to succeed a little bit better. But a miss would be 3rd straight slow start for the offensive line in a season. I think we can qualify that. Second half was better, but not as ideal as you would have hoped. I thought last week was a little bit more Luke with the sacks, but that was a poor first half for the offensive line.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it's kind of the reason we can talk about it as much. 1.5 and 2, that was an emphasis, it felt like, in the offseason to avoid some of those slow starts that they've had in the last couple seasons, especially with the continuity and you weren't shuffling around and moving players here and there. We thought it was going to be a faster start. The Duke front is good. They're talented. Manny Diaz is aggressive. They're going to bring heat from a few different places. But we thought this was a game that they should be able to run the ball a little bit better than they did, and that was not the case in the first half.
All right, what you got, Joe?
Another miss. I'm trying to think of – well, I didn't prepare for this. I was transcribing before this pod. I know.
I think we hit most of the misses, so just go with some hints.
Tanner Heckle?
Yeah.
Tanner Heckle. We've had
the whole chat wants
Ricky
Bubba
Summers,
and Ricky
man.
are going right back and forth.
I
Tanner Heckle.
I assume they're the same person. Probably. Just 2 different, one phone, one computer, just in here ramping up the Tanner Heckle chat. I don't know how this is all going to work out as the season goes on, right? In terms of the rotation. Tanner Heckle proved that he should be on the field, that he's earned to be a part of this rotation, to get defensive snaps. Going in, the whole buzz in the spring was Tanner Heckle, cornerback, yeah. And then that has emerged and evolved a little bit to Tanner Heckle, backup star, something that we had seen through training camp. We'd kind of picked up through training camp. And that allows you to kick Xavier Scott to the outside. And Heckle almost had it. You had it in your film room, Jeremy, from last week. He almost had that pick against Western Illinois. He comes out. I thought the interception he made was spectacular. Mensa was running. He kept his eyes in the right spot, turned his hips, made a play on the ball, just a really, really well done play by Tanner Heckle. And yeah, he's earned more reps, and he was really impressive today.
I need to go back. Was he in the star on that one, or is he at corner?
I need to go back and
because he plays a little bit of both. He's just what is so exciting about Tanner Heckle is he's just different athletically than everyone else they have at corner. Plus, he's got more size than a Torrey Cox, right? Or Tyler Strain's a big dude, but Tanner just explosively, both speed and his ability to get off the ground. And last week, it was a great play to have a pass breakup. And I did point out in the film room, I bet the coaches were talking about next time you get one of these, get the ball. And Tanner Heckle's a great athlete, good basketball player, can dunk from everywhere. But that's what's exciting about him, Joey, is one, it's a great evaluation by this staff out of 8-man football in Kansas to find this kid's 3-sport star in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, and then to develop him where he played last year on special teams. He's bulked up by 10, 15 pounds, looks really strong now. And then now he's got the confidence to make plays like that in this game against that quarterback. That's pretty damn good development too. So that's exciting to see. And it's not that he has to be a starter next week over somebody else, whether it's Caleb Patterson. You're going to need all of these guys, but to be able to develop that kind of player that could grow in his role, could gain confidence, and could push the guys in front of him, that's exciting, man. That's the kind of depth and development that great programs have. So that's a great sign for him. And he's obviously earning more playing time, whether that's starting in 5 games or just getting more rotational reps in the next game and the next game after that. He's deserving to play because he's making them.
Yeah, absolutely. I also do want to point out the depth in the secondary was not a perfect showing today. It's hard to be a perfect showing against that quarterback. You saw some of the depth start to shine through a little bit. It was hot. They play a lot of guys. They rotated a lot of guys, probably more than we thought they were going to, maybe more than they thought they were going to coming into this game. And to get those reps from Tanner Heckle, Tyson Rooks, as it was mentioned, came in and played boundary corner when Caleb Patterson went down. To just be able to – Tyler Strain, I thought, had really good moments today, a guy that we've overlooked and has been overlooked a little bit. Just to be able to rotate all those guys in there, get productive snaps from them, that was a big takeaway for me from the secondary. And then obviously Heckle's the headliner of that next wave. But broadly, I thought they really got into their depth.
I do want to mention Gabe Ackes had another forced fumble today in strip sack. Like that's a regular thing already this season. 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles through 2 games. Pretty good start to an All-America caliber season. And it was another big one today as they're in the red zone and forcing that one on Mensa. So you got a dude there too. Like you think about some of the most important positions, Joey. You got the quarterback, you got the edge rusher. You feel like you got the left tackle, even though it wasn't a perfect day for J.C. Davis. And then you get all the other pieces around it. But I do want to say hit Khalil Valentine. And yes, I was gloating when cashed in my bold prediction with a 15-yard touchdown run. You just knew it was due. We were talking to people on the field beforehand around Illinois, Joey.
Before the game that Khalil Valentine could have some opportunity.
Yeah, some people before the game were really excited about what he can do because there's just a juice. Like there's a difference. Like I don't think he's as strong yet as this guy. But Aiden Lawfrey, what I like about him is that those outside zone runs, he's got the ability to get to the edge, beat somebody to the edge, and get upfield and win a foot race. Khalil Valentine, I just think he's still got to add some more strength. But man, he can make people miss. And he is starting to get yards after contact, Joey. Like we saw him today, like lower shoulder, bounce off somebody, spin move, get up the field for a first down. And then I haven't even seen the play yet because we're going down to the elevator, but a 23-yard touchdown run shows that he's got that ability to break away. So there's a lot of excitement in the program around him, and there should be. It sounds like Aiden Lawfrey was an ankle injury. We'll see how serious it is. Doesn't sound like really serious, but if you miss time, you knew Khalil Valentine at some point would be a second running back. Maybe he is next week along with Caden Fagan. And after the first 2 games, Joey, there's a lot of confidence that Khalil Valentine can be that guy, at least as a runner. We'll have to see him pass protection, all that. He got ran over a few times in pass protection from what I remember today. But the runner is a difference maker.
Yeah, we talked about it, just looks different from the press box. I hope that comes through on TV, or if you're at the game, I'm sure you see it. Just looks different. He's got that burst initially, right, when he gets the ball. And this running back room, you feel bad, like having seen just the burst, and numbers aren't going to knock you over so far with Khalil Valentine, but just it passes the eye test, makes me feel better about the depth of this running back room and the reality that if he needs to step in and be that number 2 guy, he'll be able to do that. I think he'll be able to do that productively. Again, there are things to clean up for him, but he has very much passed the eye test for the first 2 games.
And can we mention also the elevator down was the Tanner Heckel forced fumble, so I haven't seen that play yet. So I'm sorry we didn't hit on that one yet because I haven't been able to watch the replay quite yet.
Yeah, I need to go back on that because it happened in a hurry. We get on the elevator and you hear one of the rich people boxes is going nuts and generally, what's going on here? And then obviously it all happened in a hurry for that. Another hit real quick, Cole Rusk.
There it is. Yeah.
I mean, good for him. One, I'm a sucker for a good story, right? And his torn ACL last season and just working back from that, how much it matters to him to play here. We saw Luke Altmaier really probably overtarget him, overlook for him last week. That was a good play. It was a heck of a good catch in the corner of the end zone. Good job getting off of the coverage to give himself a chance to make that. A good ball by Luke Altmaier. But that one probably felt pretty good for Cole Rusk. Luke Altmaier said it's one of his favorite moments of the day. And just a guy that there's so many expectations on because of what he can be, and I still think there's a lot there to untap. But a reminder, it does take – coming back from an injury is not once you're cleared, everything's 100% exactly who you were. There's a process of getting used to everything, and it's a really, really, really nice catch from him.
Another hit, Brett Bielema pissing off another out-of-conference sideline for his substitutions. He knows the rule, and he knows how to do it, and he was really angry when he got called for an illegal substitution. Didn't ask him about that because there's so many other parts of this game.
We didn't have to really – the ref's mic almost never turned off at any point. The thing was on all the time, and he said it was after the 3 seconds, and I had already turned around. And that probably pissed Brett Bielema off more than just saying, like, hey, it was a flag. But other fan bases are not a fan of the substitution, but it's within the rules, right? I mean, it's not like these guys are like walking off the field either. There is at least a level of pace to them getting off the field.
Yeah, what's the term that they said? An athletic pace, as long as you
that was in the SEC.
Pace.
I don't think the Big Ten had put any rules on it. The SEC said athletic pace. For us, that's different for me than it is for you.
Yeah, so the rule is basically like if the offense substitutes, the defense gets a chance to substitute again. So it keeps from the Oregon stuff happening of the fast tempo, and so the defense can make a sub whenever the offense makes a sub. And yeah, Brett embellishes a little bit that they slow things down because that's within the rules to be able to slow things down. But you can get your guy in the game, and if you're going to do it within 15 seconds, you are really flirting with a delay of game penalty. And Duke took one of those. They took a delay of game penalty at some point because of the substitution rule. And Manny Diaz was just as angry as Shane Beamer was in the Citrus Bowl. So I love having if you're an Illinois fan, I would love having a head coach who knows how to use that rule to his advantage and to make it really frustrating for opponents. But that's all within the rules. So I like that you got a head coach that's not afraid to flaunt with that rule.
100% with you. And I don't understand how it's still – because it was so loud in the bowl game, right? There's so much conversation. I don't understand how there's still a level of confusion. Like this has been such a point of conversation and still does not make any friends on the road. One hit for me, 4th down aggression. Mm-hmm. They went for it twice on 4th down. Both they could have settled for a field goal in both of those occasions. Ended up with touchdowns on those drives. The first one, a quick handoff to Jordan Anderson at H-back. You end up with the Russ touchdown on that.
They were going to go for it a third time too. They were going to go for it a third time when it was 31-19, right? And then 28-19. They were going to go for it, but then they had the Melvin Priestley false start.
That's right.
And settled for the field goal. So they were close to going it for 3 times, which I loved. Especially in that situation, you're up 9. Getting a 3 doesn't help you all that much, just a little bit. It probably doesn't change your win percentage that much, but getting it and getting a touchdown certainly would swing the game completely in your favor.
Yeah, and then the second one was that opening drive of the third quarter came with the 8-man or 2 number 8s on the field. They get Caden Fagan just gets a 1 yard or 4 yard pickup on 4th and 1. The very next play, get a touchdown from Luke Altmaier to Justin Bowick on that slant play, which was out of the barge. That was the play that was out of the pseudo barge. Wasn't quite as many offensive linemen, but Des Schuster came in. And a nice
did we decide that? Did we decide we're going to side with Robert? We were just suggesting, like, what is it if it's between the barge and your tugboat? What is it? And he said schooner.
I will take Robert's word for it. I'm not by sea, so I do not know.
You retired with tugboat.
That was the last bit of creativity I had. I had that, felt pretty good about it, have really tried to make it work, and I got nothing more.
All right. Let's get to your guys' questions before we get out of here and start writing and try to get some dinner. We hear the barbecue in North Carolina.
Yeah, hold on real quick. Mark Fonker, can you pull that up? Just I think it's a good point to make. He had another one after that. Read this and we'll read this next one.
All right. If you want a super chat, we'll get to your super chats here in a moment. If you want to send those in, we'd love to hear from you guys. We'll take your questions. Let's get to Mark's super chat first. Mm-hmm. Lunny really got into his bag in the second half, put a lot of different looks for the teams to have to prepare for. Beers on me. Cheers. 1999 super chat. Appreciate you, Mark. Yeah, Barry Lunny, I've said this for a long time. We can nitpick certain things, and I thought there were things that you could certainly nitpick in the first half. I just thought Barry needed to do a better job, especially in that second quarter, just getting the ball out quicker and moving the pocket around. But kudos to them. They got together as a staff, made those changes in the second half, and that's what you want to see. And that's another thing, Joey, that like when you go into halftime, I feel good about this staff. Like things change. The defense does something different. The offense does something different that you weren't expecting. But you get together from the people that are up here in this booth that I'm sitting in as the visiting coaches, and they get down to halftime and they figure it all out together. So I think it's a strong staff. And when that's in your favor, and I thought it was today, you're going to win more games.
Good coaching staff. It's a really good coaching staff. And along those lines, another point that Mark brought up was Chris Hurd, the assistant special teams coach, is the one who pointed out the 2 number 8s on the field. That is just straight up film dive, right? I mean, obviously you can look up to see it, but you got to know that it's a possibility to see that. He made it a big point, Brett Bielema said, on the sideline. You get a penalty that extends the drive. There's little things that you probably don't think about, but just crazy film diving into it and know that it could be on the table.
It's the great thing about, and everybody has access to this right now, but like expanding the staffs allows these coaches, these analysts to like dive into the nitty grittiest parts of the game that can make a difference. And something like that he noticed, that he's diving into the film. All the other coaches are focused on these different little things. And he found that and was shouting it from the sideline. Brett Bielema said, 2 8s are on the field. And then the refs noticed it, and penalty changed the game. Like that's a 4th down conversion for Illinois. They go down and score it. It absolutely changed the game right there.
Absolutely, it did that. Because the way the first half ended, and then that second, I believe that would have been a 3 and out to kick off the second. Absolutely, would have been a 3 and out to start the second half after the way the first half ended, and that total tone change. Well,
and just a complete error by Duke. Because if they saw that on film and then they did it again,
yes.
Like that's where it's something's changing, Joey, where that's the stuff Illinois did for decades, right? And now it's the other team that is making those mistakes, and you take advantage of it. It is amazing how many times other teams will allow you to take over the game or to take advantage of their miscues. Illinois did that for years to themselves, and now they're watching other teams do it.
Different world, man. It's a different world.
Def, $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Def. Bad enough Beamer didn't know the rules in the bowl game. Even dumber, Diaz didn't learn the rules after studying us. I do think that team's going to win some games, though. Like Duke they got some guys. They got some pros. I think Mensa is really good. I think he's only going to get better. They got some weapons in the pass game. Was it the Anthony kid that had the toe tap, or who had the toe tap?
Yeah.
Oh, man, what a catch that was.
Incredible catch. One of the plays I really liked that Duke ran, Mensa, and this was Torrey Cox bid on it. Mensa rolled out, looked like he was going to run. So Torrey Cox left his eyes in the backfield, left his man, it was 18 he left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Barkay And then good play down the field. I think Illinois may have held them out of the end zone, or Duke probably scored on that. But just a really creative play, good move or good read by Mensa to know that Torrey Cox had bid on that. That's a talented offense. And to miss some of the heavy hitters in the ACC on their schedule, I'm telling you guys, that win is going to look – that's going to be kind of one of those that's talked about later in the year.
Well, yeah, and you think about the way you kind of ran it up at the end too. Could matter. Like if Illinois wins the 10 games required or the 9 games required with a great win over somebody else, like that can matter. Like those style points can matter to that. Hey, they went on the road at Duke in week 2 and beat the number 22 team in the country by 25 points on the road. That could end up mattering. So I don't think they were looking to run up the score, but the defense with the takeaways gave them the opportunity to do so, and the offense executed at a really high level. Ricky Summers gave us a super chat as well. Let me get to it here in a second. $10 super chat. Dak spit first, but I ask you fellas, are we a good football team? I think so. That's what they proved today, Joey. That is what they proved. Like I don't know if losing today would have meant they're a bad team or not going to be a good team. But if you want to be a great team, you got to go on the road and beat a team like Duke, an ACC team, a good ACC team. But if you want to be top 4 in the Big Ten and be in that conversation for college football playoff, you got to win a game like this. Was it perfect? No, but it's a 25-point win on the road. The last 6 games against Power 4 opponents in the non-conference on the road, Joey, they lost by an average of 24 points. They haven't won a non-conference road Power 4 game since 2007. It's another thing Bielema can cross off the checklist of how this program is growing. And now you set yourself up for a 3-0 chance heading into Big Ten play, halfway to a bowl game, and taking care of business. Like you took care of business. This was a business trip, as they like to call it, and you did it.
Yeah, it's a good team now, and I believe this coaching staff is a good coaching staff to make them a better team in 3 weeks, in a month, in 5 games, whatever it is. But to come out and do this early in the season, kind of Kansas vibes, right, from last season to get that one and get some momentum going. Obviously, this carries a lot of momentum rather than builds it. But, yeah, it's a good football team.
Yeah, this one felt – Kansas was a good win. I'm not trying to take away from it, but, like, that was – turnovers you won. Xavier Scott turned that game with the pick 6. Like you could have said Kansas most times would have won that game if just their coordinator would have ran the ball with Devin Neal, a stud, a little bit more. Like this one was convincing. Like, this was a convincing win in that second half, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely convincing after a first half that was not impressive. It didn't feel fluky in the second half the way that Illinois played, and it's really good adjustments by them.
Yeah, so now they return home against Western Michigan. That is going to be a sellout, which is pretty amazing. I know it's the band day and they got some of that, but Joey, let's the other hit I got to mention as I'm thinking of attendance.
Looking out of the fan section.
Was here? Yeah, how much orange was here today? The parents are going to show up and all that, but the fans showed up here in North Carolina, and it wasn't just people that lived in this area, but a lot of people travel from Central Illinois. We ran into some people at a bar last night, and this fan base is hungry, and they're supporting this team. And now we're selling out at Memorial Stadium, and now you see them showing up at an ACC stadium. And about 30 minutes before the game, I looked at you and I said, there's as much orange here as Duke blue. And that section that we're looking at from the press box, it was like half and half. Now the side under us was mostly blue, but really impressive showing by the Illini fans on the road.
Yeah, you come here, you take care of business. You got to sell out. I don't think fans would have not shown up with the loss, but now you get a chance for Memorial Stadium to be night game, a little drunk, a lot of people. Like I think you've got a chance and a lot of energy, right? So I think you got a lot of chance for that next week to be a really, really good atmosphere. They would have shown up regardless. They don't have the tickets, but now they're showing up with some juice. I think that's going to be a pretty cool spot.
Yeah. So any final thoughts as we get ready for Illinois to wrap up its non-conference next week against a MAC team? I haven't seen if Western Michigan's played yet today, but and then 2 weeks from now you have Indiana. So that was the key to today. You set up, you take care of business, and now you move forward and see if you can build off it.
Western Michigan's up 24-17 in the third quarter against North Texas. So my one last point, 48 yards a punt for Illinois today. Not a great punt against Western Illinois last week for Keelan Kremens. And really the one that ended up being a touchback, the one chasing the ball was long snapper Lane Hansen. there must have been either the Gunners got really locked up there, but Lane Hansen shouldn't be the one diving in the end zone for that. So I'd be curious to go back and watch what happened there. We're in the weeds. Good bounce back for Keelan Crimmins.
No, I like it. I like that we got that into the weeds. All right, for Joey Wagner, I'm Jeremy Werner. Everybody, thank you for coming in to the Illini Inquirer podcast, our live post game. If you're still here on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notifications bell. That lets you guys know when we start these post game podcasts each time, so you can just be on alert for those. If you're listening on the podcast, please follow us, rate us, review us wherever you get your podcasts as well. We got plenty of content coming from Durham, North Carolina tonight. We're going to get some barbecue, got an early morning flight. We'll have you covered at IlliniInquirer.com. So for Joey Wagner, I am Jeremy Werner. Everybody have a great day. Take care of each other. We'll talk to you next time on the Illini Inquirer podcast.